year, all candidates running for office received invitations to participate in this meeting. The invitations were sent to the email to the candidates listed in the ballot news. Many RSVP that they could not make it because of prior commitments. Thank you to the candidates who did show up. There are so many candidates. There are so many candidates running for office this year. There's only one that is running unopposed, and that is a good sign. That means people are engaged and paying attention to what is going on in the community. The Brockton NAACP is non-partisan. We do not endorse candidates. We do, however, wish them well. And for full disclosure, our first vice president is a candidate. Until the election is over, he has to relinquish his duties temporarily. Now, for a moment, I would like to speak to the voters. The power is not in the candidates. The power is in us, the voters. We the voters hold the power to demand change when it is needed, to hold leaders accountable, and to shape the future of our community. Our votes decide who serves, and most importantly, who serves us well. Don't let name recognition or popularity choose you. Learn the issues, know the candidates, vote for the person who will truly fight for justice, equality, and progress. Our voice is our vote, and together we are the power. To the voters. Doing some research for this forum, articles on Brockton zero in on our economic challenges. Our forum will focus our questions, including but not limited to the city's economic health and school concerns. The candidates have not seen the questions, contrary to what you have believed. No one sees them but me, okay? And to start off our dialogue this afternoon, we have the school committee. I would ask each school candidate to come up to the podium to introduce themselves and tell us why they are running. They will have 3 minutes. Carol Griffith, my right-hand person there, is the timekeeper, so please adhere to the time. Starting from my left, we will have Steve Pina.
Hey, how is everybody today? So the questions that was asked, why am I running? And I'm going to tell you straight up and honest, I'm running because I have 4 kids in the school system. I have 4 kids in the school system. I have 4 kids that are playing sports. I have 4 kids that want to have futures in Brockton. And that's why I've stayed in Brockton. That's why I believe in Brockton, because I believe that there's an opportunity for us here in Brockton. At the end of the day, the race is about getting Brockton schools back on track. I have 4 pillars in my plan, and that are pretty clear. Academic standing, raising academic standards that actually mean something, safe and disciplined schools, and put teachers and students first. Fiscal responsibility with every taxpayer dollar, and strong partnerships with parents and the community. I call my plan the Champion City Project. And it's laid out at votepina.com. It's a no-nonsense roadmap to restoring pride in our schools and set our kids up for success in the future, whether that's college, a trade, or service. Look, I've never been afraid of service. I've served my country, and I've served the community. And now I want to serve the community in a different way. I'm a father of 4 kids, a proud husband, and a proven leader who's managed multi-hundred-million-dollar budgets and hundreds of employees. I know how to solve problems, I know how to build consensus, and I deliver results. If you're ready for safer schools, higher expectations, and real accountability, I'm asking for your vote. Together, we can bring back the winning culture and make Brockton the city of champions. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'm going to sit here. Next up, we have Anna. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be this afternoon. Once again, I am running for re-election for Ward 3 School Committee. And I'll start by, I stand here not just as a candidate, but also as a dedicated advocate for every student in Brockton. And I mean every student in Brockton. The progress we have made is just the beginning. There's so much more work to be done. We need to ensure that every child, regardless of the background, has access to the resource and opportunity that can empower them to succeed. Our community deserves a school district that prioritizes the well-being and development of its students. By continuing to advocate for mental health initiatives, we can create a supportive environment where students feel safe, valued, inspired to learn. The Mental Health and Wellbeing Subcommittee, which I co-sponsor and am chair of, is just one step in ensuring that we are addressing the emotional, psychological needs of our students, which are just as important as their academic needs. I am committed to working with all leaders, with parents, teachers, and community leaders to gather insights and ideas that will help us shape a school district that truly reflects the aspirations of our community. Every voice matters. I want to ensure that everyone feels heard, represented in this process. As we look to the future, let's continue to push for transparency and accountability. We must hold ourselves, our leaders, to higher standards and ensure that decisions are made with the best interest of our children at heart. The stakes are too high for complicity. Our children deserve advocates who will fight tirelessly for their rights and their future. So I ask again for your support. Together, let's continue this journey towards making Brockton a beacon of educational excellency. Let's build a future where every child has an opportunity to thrive, where their potential is nurtured, and where they are prepared to take on the challenges of tomorrow. With your vote, we can ensure that the fight of our children's educational and well-being continues, and their future are secure, and that's why I'm running for re-election. Thank you.
Good afternoon, thank you to the NAACP for hosting this. My name is Tony Rodriguez. I'm currently the Vice Chair of the Brockton School Committee. Lifelong resident of Brockton, 47 years. I ran for school committee in 2019 because the Brockton public school system is failing the students in this community. The demographics has changed tremendously, but the Brockton public schools didn't incorporate to address those needs. One of the big sticking points is that, being a child of an immigrant, speaking proper English, we were placed in the bilingual program. So that's a huge disservice that happened to me and also to other immigrants in this community. So what was really happening? Why was this process happening where individual students with spoke proper English placed in the bilingual program? When you know education funding, there's different sources when it comes to how funds are allocated. I'm one of the members that I sit in high-level meetings because of the financial crisis that happened in 23. But the financial crisis didn't just happen in 23. It's been happening for so long that the school committee was so complacent. I'm not pointing the fingers at the members, but it's that the people that were in charge of our finance and taking funds from education and subsidizing city-side services, specifically called Schedule 19. Not to dwell on what happened in 23 because it was devastating to this community. For many years, not just in 23, funding has been taken from our education and placed on the city side. This is one of the reasons why when I got on the committee, I had an issue with the mayor being the chairman of the school committee. That should not happen, because that man is influential when it comes to financing our education into the system. I'm glad, I'm not happy to say that it happened. When that happened, it gave an eye, and I had to indicate to the state, I need your support because I do not trust certain individuals. In 2014, you're going to see this because we have a city councilor, only one that stepped up. And I will be in front of the city council with the state audit because I requested an audit, not just because of the school department, but the whole city. And it wasn't a school issue. When you sit in these high-level meetings talking about school financing, these dollars are supposed to educate our students are being used for services that are not educational building. So I am always going to be that person. If I have to be a shark, I'm black and white. I'm speaking the truth. And when I say something, I have the receipts to back it up. So I'm running for re-election to making sure that all of our education dollars stays within the school department. It doesn't belong in finance. It doesn't belong in the law department. It doesn't belong in the parks department. I'm huge on facilities. We're running out of classroom space. We need a greater environment for our students to learn. We need smaller classroom sizes, and we need more educators. We have a lot of openings, and we have to make sure that our students have the best quality education and have the educators that are invested in our community, not just for a paycheck. I'm not here as Tony, but I'm here for somebody with a strong voice for our students because I was failed, because where I sit now, I didn't have some of those opportunities, and I don't want to see another child lose those opportunities when I have a strong voice to make sure that that happens. And that's also working with the school committee. I know there was an article there saying that we were divided. We were never divided.
Thank you. That's the perfect time, guys. No. Yes, sir.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you to everybody for having us here today. My name is Nolan. So my name is Nolan and I'm running for Ward 5 School Committee. I just want to thank the NAACP for having us here today. And first of all, this is very personal to me because I grew up in South Africa. I've been in Brockton for 29 years, but my whole school life I went through in South Africa until I turned 20, 21, came to the United States. I've been through the entire process of apartheid. I understand the difficulties that our families and students are facing. And so I came to the United States as a professional soccer player. I was drafted straight out of high school. But during my time, I always wanted to become a teacher. But then I had an opportunity to attend college. I ended up at Massachusetts. Then I ended up at Philadelphia University. And now I ended up at Harvard University as working in accounting and finance. What drove me to run for the school committee was I sat up until midnight when watching and waiting to see what happened with our budget. This is what I do for work every day, and for the people that came out and gave us the reason as to what actually happened was very disappointing to me. And so it didn't justify what actually happened to the 18 million deficit. So in my field, I think there's 3 issues that we have to address as a school committee. There's the student achievement, number 1. That's very broad in how we get our kids and improve them as students. The second one is fiscal responsibility. The school committee is responsible for the budget, is responsible for holding people accountable, and so that's what we will have to do. And then the third thing is the teacher retention. We got to recruit and retain the best teachers. And in doing so, if we can fulfill those 3 areas, I think we'll improve our schools, we'll improve our communities, and will be very safer in our schools, and parents will feel secure in sending their kids to Brockton Public Schools. So I look forward to running. I respect all my opponents. I wish them well, but I feel I'm the best candidate for Ward 5 in order to bring accountability to the school department. So I'll ask you for your vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this event. This will be, I think, my 3rd time running. So I've seen faces out here. My name is Matt Stanton. I'm honored to be here today as a candidate for the Ward 3 School Committee. I come to this race with a background in business, education, and security. Worked across the globe as a circulation operator. Spent about a decade running after-school programs in local towns, local and global, as a coordinator, and I've been in private security for close to 30 years. Let's see, did I leave off here? All right. I am committed to bringing communication, collaboration, and common sense back to our schools. I feel like I said, this will be my third time running, and I remember my first NAACP forum, and I could have said those same things then, and they're still true today. We need more of it in our schools, between parents, teachers, principals, administrators, the community at large. We need communication. Our students are suffering, and every day that goes by with the lack of communication and collaboration, the students are the ones that are. And until that changes, it's going to continue down that road. I go to every meeting, I sit there, and I've seen far too many issues just kicked down the road. Look at the Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club, 4 years, 5 years, they could have that building built by now. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry for the meeting. But again, I'm just running to bring common sense, collaboration, communication. We need community involvement. If we all come together as a community, nothing can stop us. And when it comes to education, nothing should stop us. Our kids need every one of us out there. They need all our support, and there's no reason not to. I believe our schools must be in a place where every student, no matter their background, has the opportunities to succeed, and where families feel heard and supported. With your trust, I will work to strengthen partnerships between parents, teachers, and the community so that we can provide the safe, strong, and equitable education our children deserve. That's it for me. Thank you very much for coming.
Hello friends, I'm Jorge Vega. I'm the current school committee representative for Ward 1. And if you had asked me in 2024, January 2024, was this on my bingo card? It was not. When I joined the school committee last year, Brockton schools were facing one of their toughest moments. An $18 million deficit and an insulting request for the National Guard to occupy our high schools. I wasn't part of those decisions, but I was just as outraged as everyone else. I stepped up because I knew my 30 years in education as a teacher, administrator, and technology leader could help repair the damage and move us forward. From day one, my focus has been making sure we never face a crisis like that again. I pushed for monthly financial updates, helped bring in a superintendent and CFO who share my commitment to transparency, and started rebuilding bridges others burned with our city leaders. And when the committee was stuck in a deadlock for vice chair, I pulled my own name from the nomination to end the grid. Because I'm here to solve problems, not chase titles. The same mindset guides my approach to safety. We all agree our schools must be safer, but I'm the only member calling for merging city and school police to improve communication, cut duplication, and make better use of taxpayer dollars. And as part of the team reimagining the Brockton High School, I'm working to expand career, vocational, and technical programs so every graduate is ready for college, the trades, or the workforce. Preparing our students for the future also means giving them the right tools. I want libraries back in our schools as modern learning hubs, and clear AI policies so students can use these tools responsibly and competitively, ensuring that Brockton kids aren't left behind. I'm not here to be a part of a faction or to hold grudges. I'm here to restore trust, demand accountability, and get results. Ward 1, I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sandra Santiago, and I'm running for School Committee Ward 5. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me. So I am a proud graduate of the Brockton Public Schools, a longtime Brockton resident, and I am now a homeowner. I'm also a union member, a a social worker with over 20 years of experience working with children, families, and individuals with disabilities. I'm also a mom, raising 2 kids here in our great city of Brockton. So I understand firsthand the challenges that families face. You guys, I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. I'm running for school committee because I believe that every child deserves access to high quality of education in a safe and supportive environment. Families in Ward 5 and across Brockton needs leaderships that listen, understand, and takes action. My campaign is guided in four values: and transparency and accountability, so families know how decisions are being made and where resources are going. High quality education and safety, so focusing on school safety, improving grades, expanded STEM program, job readiness programs, restoring music, arts, and athletics, and ensuring that every child feels safe. Family and community engagement is also another area that I will be pushing. Building stronger partnerships between schools, parents, and community. As a social worker, I'm big on mental health. So because students thrive when their well-beings are being supported. I bring perspective of as a social worker. I am a working mom and a lifelong Brockton resident who has lived and worked in this community for decades. I'm committed to ensure as our school reflects the very best of Brockton, inclusive, transparent, and focused on every child's success. So on November 4th, I am asking for your support, your vote, so together we can build a strong school, a brighter future for all of Brockton's school system. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Hodges, but of course on the ballot I'm listed as Cynthia D. McCall Hodges because I donated my name. I'm a longtime resident here of Brockton. All 3 of my kids attended the Brockton Public School. All 3 of them are alumni of the Brockton Public School. I'm running because I feel that I am I'm qualified. I'm here to serve, countless kids across the district, my local kids. I am committed to education, rooted in the community, and I'm also ready to serve. That's what I'm here for. I am also, my goals, if I'm elected in Ward 2 as Ward 2 School Committee, I'll be a strong voice for the parents, for the students, and the staff. To advocate for safer schools, to support educators, to work toward academacy and excellence. I want to build stronger community partnerships with my families within my ward or any squad. Just because I'm running in Ward 2 don't mean if a family have a problem, they can't come to me because I'm for the whole community. This is not just a campaign for me. It is a continuation of a lifetime of service to our kids of Brockton. Brockton need us. Brockton need to be together. We can build a better future for every child in this city if we are together. My campaign slogan is, for every child in every corner of Brockton, because when one child is lifted, we all rise. That's my point. If you believe in this mission, I invite you to stand with me. Vote for me on November the 4th. I don't have a preliminary, but I have a primary. I'm working hard. Also, a little bit about me. I was appointed as a school committee when my kids went to school. So now I guess I have to be elected. So I'm hoping that, that if you want to donate, volunteer, or just connect, please call me at 508-423-9273. You also can email me at votecdmh@gmail.com. Let's build a better future together for every child in Brockton. Thank you.
School committee Okay. I have questions. The first two questions are for the incumbents, Tony, Anna, and Jorge. Can we all just get along? Our first question concerns our city fiscal management and economic health. What 3 or 4 things would you do to improve the school committee and Brockton Public Schools? You have 2 minutes. Who wants to go first? Oh no, incumbents.
Okay. And honestly, I don't think we're divided. I think that everybody has their own personality and their character, and we all bring different voices to the table. I think that everybody needs to respect each other's voices, and we will get along. And I think what happened since I got here, I refuse to rubber stamp anything. I am asking a question. I remember somebody told me as an advice, please don't stay silent your first year. Ask the question, demand answers. Whether they like you, I'm not here for clicks, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to ask the questions, to make sure everybody's accountable for what happened with the fiscal disgrace. So if we're going to move forward, we have to respect each other and have a voice no matter what. If you like me or not, I'm not here for your like. I'm here to do my job and represent the students in Brockton.
I echo that as well. When the financial crisis happened, there was a huge disservice to the district because every meeting was just geared towards talking about finance, and I think everybody was up in arms, and it opened up the doors for our own attacking each other. Not really in a sense. None of us hate each other. It was just because of what we were dealing with. But as far as the finance, what's happening, thanks to the Commonwealth with open architects, with their leadership, our budget is transparent now because we have a dashboard where in real time the elected officials can go in and we can look at the budget and see what's really happening, how the spending was. Yes, there was a lot of understanding, and I was one of those members that didn't approve certain projects because it was a waste of money. $3 million for clocks, $17 million for modular classrooms that we didn't need, and we can actually put real infrastructure in. And we had some, not to point fingers, but we had some long-term members that didn't agree with it. Oh, why are you against it? Because it's a waste of money. And, sitting on accounts, myself, and Cynthia, who's no longer in there, and 2 new members, we're sitting in the council review, and you couldn't even read the documents. Thank you to former Vice Chair Kathy Ellis, we requested it to be a certain way to actually have each school with their line items so we can see where the dollars were going. And they were indicating to us, the people that we make our decision, our finance office, saying that we can't do that because the news doesn't produce it that way, which is a lie. We were asking for these documents for almost, 2 years, and then next thing we know, the CFO comes and gives it to us, and we were asking for this for 2 years ago. Why are we presenting it now? But the budget is more transparent. We have a brand new superintendent. I'm glad. I let that switch with Aaron and Jorge and the mayor. We got a wonderful superintendent, and I hope she's here for a very long time. And we have a new budget office being built. So the budget is more transparent than ever it's been.
Thank you, Jorge. Tony. Jorge.
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Thank you.
What 3 or 4 things would you do to improve the school committee and the Brockton Public Schools?
So when we talk about the financial picture, I think the Vice Chair is absolutely right. I mean, we have secured an incredible superintendent. She comes in with a high financial IQ, and she's begun building a team with equal financial acumen. And so that's an important piece. But when we look ahead, the challenge that we see is that we've got federal grants about to be cut, in danger. And so what we need to be doing is thinking proactively about how we compensate for funds that are specifically targeted for Brockton student demographics. We're talking about grant funds that are targeted towards multi-language learners, grant funds for special ed, funds that help support our homeless students, And when you're not thinking proactively, it doesn't make a difference if you've gotten out of the hole. You're about to fall back into it. So I'm really excited about the opportunities that exist for folks to come in with questions. When I joined the school, in the months before I joined the school committee, I sat in on financial meeting after financial meeting after financial meeting and didn't hear a single question. What am I bringing since my arrival and when I continue, hopeful appointment? I continue to bring questions. I'm not afraid to be the dumbest person in the room, but I won't be the least informed. Does that make sense? All right, so I think the key to making things work, the key to moving forward is learning, asking questions, and sitting down. So as a school committee member, we only have 3 roles. We're responsible for the budget, we're responsible for policy setting, and we're responsible for oversight of the superintendent. I'm gonna say that last one more time. The school committee is responsible for the oversight of the superintendent. We've gone through 3 in very rapid succession. And one has to ask the question, where was the oversight? Right? And so I'm very excited and proud of the fact that after the vice chair, I'm the committee member who meets with the superintendent most regularly. We have a standing meeting. My ball.
I know, we're all fired up and ready to go. Okay, the second question to the incumbents. We've been talking about this, so I'm gonna have to bring it up in. Our second question deals with a challenge that was publicized all over Brockton, and many in our city are still somewhat skeptical about the providing narrative. The school committee has existed for over 50 years, and the mayor is head of the committee. A committee that makes the financial decisions as well as deciding personnel positions and enacting policy decisions for all of Brockton School. Our question, I know you heard it before, but y'all here want to hear it again. Our question is, how did the school committee mismanage up to the tune of $18 million? And what are your future assurances that this will not happen again? Who wants to go first?
Listen,
2 minutes though.
So it goes a lot deeper, and this is one of the reasons why in 22 I questioned why the mayor is the chair. And the mayor should be the chair because it deals with the finance, because when the budget is crafted, it's the mayor, city CFO, the school side, and they come up with this number. So when I sit in these meetings and the state's asking for actuals and documentation, they can't provide it. And I'm getting furious because we had an $18 million deficit, and that $18 million deficit was actually 14. The city owes the school department $4.2 million, so they have to amend the end of the year report to get us back. Even further, FY24, the year after the deficit, the city overcharged the school department by $5.3 million. That has to come back. So now, I requested DESI. DESI is doing a 5-year review of the Schedule 19, meaning any dollars that the city took from the school department has to come back. Now, we know the finances of the city is grim. I'm concerned because the city doesn't have the funds to give that to the school department. The Schedule 19 is one of the most important intricate parts when it comes to our budget. The reason why it was mismanaged because there was no budget updates on the school committee. In FY22, I told the vice chair, along with Kathy, others, new members, why aren't we following our policy when it comes to the warrants, where we're supposed to sign these? But they weren't giving us the accurate information, so if the school committee is not getting the budget updates, where are you going to get it when the school finance office is telling you one thing? You go to the superintendent, who you're his boss, the 7 of us, and he's telling you the same thing that the finance office says. So I'm glad that the state is stepping in, but even regardless of the fact that you have a city audit that happened in the school side, you still need a state auditor coming in because there is still millions of dollars that the city owes the school department.
I mean, in terms of assurances, I wish I could tell you, you can be assured as well. But the reality is, that depends on your vote, right? It depends on who you put in these seats. Okay? It always has been. So in terms of assurances, I'll move away from that and say, here's what I think we can do. I think that, as we mentioned, we have a strong superintendent in place. I think we need to expect that superintendent to come before the public on a regular basis, as she already does, and is committed to committing and talking through where we're at any given point in the fiscal year. I think we have an incredible grants office that's working overtime to figure out how to make up for what could be a huge potential loss on the federal side. I think for us to continue digging ourselves out of this hole, we need to focus a little bit less on the city side. Don't get me wrong, there's accountability to go around, but we got to get our house in order first. There's a lot of accountability to go around right on our committee, and we need to think about why certain questions weren't asked. Did we not know enough to ask those questions? So I would say that we can't make assurances, but what we can do is lean forward and make sure we're not the least informed person in the room.
2 minutes.
Just to piggyback on my two colleagues, I think definitely now that we have a strong superintendent, and it was we went through candidates, but definitely she stood out. She stood out as an intelligent woman that knew how to balance a budget. And Brockton School District needed that. And this is why I voted for her to be the superintendent. And also her putting all the pieces together, the puzzle that we needed in the finance office, the grant office, and just her team is building and having that communication, having those daily meetings, and also keeping us updated on any changes. We are moving forward to make sure that every money that's supposed to be used for our students is stayed in-house. We are not going to repeat the thing of the past. We need to move to the future, but we need to have the right people leading us to the future. And I think right now we do have, with the superintendent and her team, we keep moving. Not only that, we also have to have the school committee members that is willing to listen and work with everybody, no matter how you view that person. But we need to have meetings, talks, ideas, and brought it to them to make sure that they listen to our view also, because we are listening to the people and we have to bring it back to them. Sorry, I am on call. I do apologize. I'm working this weekend, sorry. But just basically getting the right team involved and make sure we move to the future. And people still need to take accountability for what happened and they're never going to do. And we can't basically force them to do it.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the challenges. Okay. Steve, what would you do to improve the school committee and Brockton public education?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And what I would say to that is we've got to look at this more as how do we compete with school choice, and how do we compete for those dollars that are being sent from the federal government to the state and down to Brockton. So what I would say is that we need to create some different avenues or paths for our students to go forward. What I mean by that is we need to compete against Southeastern. We need to have a technical school, a trade school that is literally working with the community, working with the Brockton nursing program, whatever it is that we can do to get these kids ready to go into a career instead of just into college, we need to do. I would also say that I'm a big proponent of expanding and building onto the two-way program and making that, taking the George School, moving into the middle school and then into a high school. But not only that, I think it's incredibly important that we also have the adult education that also is with that two-way program. And for those of you that don't know the two-way program, it's a great program. It's one of the jewels of the city. It's at the George School. They learn either Spanish, French, or Portuguese half the day, and then English the other half the day. So what you're doing is you're assimilating those kids both into each other's cultures, and it really makes, it binds this community together, and that's something we should pursue.
Thank you. Same question to you, Noah. Should I repeat it or? three or four things would you do to improve the school committee and Brockton public education?
A house divided cannot stand. So first of all, we have to unify the school committee. We have to work as one. Nothing can work without finance, without money. The first two questions was based on finance. My job every day, I transact from about $700 to $1 billion a year for Harvard University. If I'm a penny off on my reconciliation, my manager doesn't sign off on it. To hear today that the superintendent is in charge of balancing the budget is absolutely unacceptable. The responsibility falls on the school committee. The school committee needs qualified people on the board who understand finance and accounting, and they can balance the books and hold people accountable. We don't give increases to people. When you have a deficit of 18 million, you gotta reconcile it and you gotta recover it. You don't go around and giving people raises, okay? We don't do that. The money belongs to the kids. And so what we do, we gotta make sure that the money goes towards the kids, the budget is done. So you have to close your books every 3 months. At Harvard University, so in higher institutions, in higher education, across the world, business practices is that you close your books every 3 months. You reconcile it. You make sure that it's another look every 3 months. And then you have risk management in place. You're gonna have a risk management department that understands it and controls everything. The idea that we're gonna have people sitting and running the school committee runs the city. We run the whole school department. That's what we do. And if you don't have qualified people on the board that are sitting there that understand the process, we will not make it. No matter what else you want to do for the kids, if you can't control the money and you don't know where it's going, you don't know how to account for it, you don't know how to balance it, everything needs money. Everyone in our personal lives, we have our own personal budgets. So we gotta get that, that's the priority, and once we fix that, then we can move forward and take care of the rest of the issues of the school demands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick, it was a few things, right?
3 or 4 things to improve the school committee.
Again, communication on all levels. You have to work as a school committee member. You have to communicate with your ward councilors, Councilor-At-Large, mayor, all the department heads as well. You're working hand in hand with the city. I know it's separate with the schools. It's one that we focus more on schools, but you do have to have relationships with all the other elected officials throughout the city, even the state reps, federal as well. Because we've seen what could possibly happen on a federal level at that point. We had questions about whether money was going to come in, if it was going to be withheld. We have to, I know somebody mentioned the budget tracker. That's great. I looked at it as well, but it's kind of like, it was, in my opinion, it was more brought in as kind of like a shiny little object to make everybody feel better after the budget crisis, the deficit. We could spend $225 million last year, $251 million this year coming up. But what are we getting for a return on that investment? Better question, what are the kids getting? We could spend $500 million, $1 billion. But if the kids aren't getting what they need, what good is it? We're just, we're throwing money away. So we have to shore up the programs from the bottom up. Make sure they're all working. You can't build a house with a cracked foundation. Foundation's no good. The whole thing is no good. So we have to make sure all programs are working, build them up, and use the community as well, like unions, Brockton businesses that are dying to come in and help in any way they can. We're just not utilizing them.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, you have 2 questions. So the first one is about the committees, right? So my goal is to make sure that we all get along and we respect each other and also respect each other's voices. So right now, my current job, I'm in leadership position, and I can see how well it works when we respect each other's perspective. This is why voters are choosing each of us to be in this position, because we are going to bring our unique voice. So we have to respect that. As far as schools, Brockton Public Schools, I said earlier, mental health is going to be one of my big push. So hiring more school adjustment counselors to be there for the students, because if the students is not right, they're not going to be ready to learn. Family engagement is also another piece. Like I do volunteers a lot in our schools, and when I do talk to the teachers, I am hearing that there is a lack of family involvement. So for me, I plan to hold a forum in Ward 5 where families can come and we can talk about the issues and also find out solutions. When I get elected, I don't want to be in those seats and just speaking from my own experience. I want to talk to the residents to hear what's going on and then come to the seat and talk about those issues. We talked about budget. So I do agree that our current superintendent is doing a great job. And I feel like we have good systems in place. And I think we just need to continue to do more oversights to make sure that what happened in 2023 does not happen again. And we also need a safe environment. I'm a mom of 2 kids, so I want my kids to go to a school where they feel supported and also safe. And that's it. Thank you.
First question is, I'm going to piggyback on everybody, because first of all, we need to not be divided. If we're going to be, as a school committee, divided, we're never going to be successful. We're never going to accomplish a thing. We will go back into another deficit. That part we will do. So I think that if we, as a school committee, if I'm elected, I will pay close attention, I will focus, I won't just sit there and just look at it. You have to read. First of all, you need to make sure that you read and understand what you see. Because if you don't read and understand what you see, then that's how you're going to just mess up. And also, the second question, to answer the second question, is that I think the finances are very important. To say classroom, for books, all type of supplies. And, we need those finances to be in place. We can't just I piggyback on her, hey, you can't borrow you can't borrow from one place and put it in another, because then when you put it back at that you borrowed from, that's my problem. And the first thing I'm gonna focus on, going through the cities, all around our surrounding town, Brockton was in the top 10 of schools. My problem I have is that they should at least consider getting Brockton High one of those new high schools like the other cities. Thank you.
Our last question then, from the school committee. What is the school committee's strategic game plan to really put a dent into bullying? School bullying has become a serious concern of many families as well as the school system. What can we do about it? What plans or procedures would you suggest to get a handle on this matter? Who wants to go first? Anna.
I have the mic. I should go first. However, if you want it, sis, I can give it to you.
Try to answer in 60 seconds.
I'll let first. So one of the major things before I got elected last time and wanted and always viewed is to create a subcommittee that focused on mental health. And we made sure this was done this year. With myself, co-sponsor with Claudia Gomes, we basically started a subcommittee that deals with mental health and well-being. The fact is, I saw what bullying does to a child firsthand, because my child was bullied for a long time. And I know the depression it causes, the anxiety, refusing to go to school, the doctor's office, therapy fees that you go through. So I do not want any child to go through what my child went through. So this is why, since I started my campaign 2 years ago and wanted to be one of the school committee, is to make sure we have a subcommittee that deals with mental health. How do we basically stop the bullying? How do we basically advocate for students to be more vocal, to let us know what's going on, stop being afraid, where we can have educators to see what's going on and not hide it. No more hiding. We need to speak on the issue and get resolution for it.
So I guess committees and all the schools.
Well, the subcommittee that basically is going to deal with all the team members, the sped department, and to get together to basically see how we can working and how we do bullying in schools. And if what we have in place now isn't working, if not, we need to change it and make sure it's working for our students.
And who was for this?
Okay, so I had a unique opportunity when I was in grad school. I was a social worker intern at Westminster School. So I was a school adjustment counselor there. So this was right after COVID. So a lot of the issues that the school adjustment counselors were dealing with was the bullying and also the mental health. So for me, ways to tackle that is, of course, dealing with the mental health, but it's also within the school, is having small little forums where students can come in and talk about what is going on and to see if they have any ways for themselves to work it out, but also to have the school adjustment counselors to be there. So yeah, when I was at West, that was continues to be a big crisis here in the Brockton.
Yes, hi, I piggyback on all of them. Also, I bring a little more about bullying. A bully, you first got to say when they bullying your kid or someone else, it don't only have to be a kid. Because my son is in the military, he was bullied. So, you know, you got to think about it. Not only kids, grown people still get bullied. And that's my whole problem is you got to start with, why is the bully bullying the bully? And, you know, he had to start, someone bullied him, someone was a bully for him. So I think you need a resource center for everybody. You know, whether they're kids, you know, whether they're grown or not, because bullying is a serious thing here. And you have to not take it light, because sometimes it even costs a life. That's what happens.
So I'm president of the Brockton Area Branch, and we have thousands of kids over the years that come to our program. Bullying happens both for the girls and the boys side. And I agree with him. The same things we have to do. Since we're speaking about the schools, we're speaking about youth. A lot of this stuff is learned behavior. Okay, it starts in the home. It starts with parents getting the children under control, teaching them discipline, and then they go straight to consequences for their actions. Okay, so bullying is really pushing. We see it on the sports field. If you want to be part of the team, and if you continue to do it, you're going to have to leave the team. So a lot of this bullying that happens in the school, based on the rules and the regulations around it, we need to get our parents, and as a school committee, and we have to put some guidance in place, some regulations in place, and we hold them accountable. Our parents need to work with the schools as well in helping us achieve these things, but it's a learned behavior. They're not born with it. So we got to get that under control, and we have to push your button, just like how the kids will test us at times as parents. Push us until we make let's continue to that. So we can control this. We've had a lot of experiences in bullying in our program, and we've been able to do it. Thank you.
I would first say, I played football at Brockton High, and I was in the military as well. I played football in college. And bullying is just a real issue everywhere you go. But I'm going to come at this a different way. You know, the kids that are doing the bullying might need more help as well, because there's a reason why they're doing it. And I would say that the current system that we have in the school might not really be the right path for those kids. And instead, they need an automotive, strictly automotive, something where they're dealing with their hands and they're taking their time where they might have not that much interest in education. But I think there's different avenues that we could do, and we could look at this in a different way, along with the mental health. Being a veteran, we deal with a lot of mental health issues. So there has to be that at the backside, but I think if we are able to stem the bullies from being the bullies, I think that's a good way to go about it.
No child should fear going to school because of getting bullied. I work very closely with the attendance department. Why are these kids not going to school? A lot of them is because they're the fear of a kid on the bus, a kid in the cafeteria, even in athletics. I mean, it happens at every level, but it's more of, like we can create any policy, but if the work is not being really done and finding what the root cause is, why are you doing this? What is going on? That's the family engagement of going into the homes and working with our partners in the community to support them. It could be lack of food supply, clothing. Kids don't go to school because they have to share their clothes. When I was going to school, me and my brothers, we shared clothes. Don't get that dirty because I got to wear it on Thursday. You know, but then you're like, oh, you look. That's just a small form of bullying. But we have to get to the root cause of it, find out what is really happening. Why is this child doing this, the social emotional learning piece, and making sure that we have a system in place that's going to support that. You know, because you don't want to take a child out of school because they're, you know, being bullied.
Again, communication, forums, talking to the parents, talking to the kids, peer among the students, peer support, peer assemblies, where they're coming together, talking about issues themselves. We started a bit the other day. They did that, speaking to the leaders, the administrators, all of that. But also using the community. We have to get to, like you said, the root cause of it, or it will just continue. These, you know, I know we started using the younger back now, but phones. Look at the data. You know, these are major tools. They're using it fully. And we have to really, really take a hard look at this. But again, it starts with communication. Citywide, everybody, and the organizations, NAACP, H3 Party, any organization out there, we need to get everybody involved. I think every organization can do, but can we all do just a little bit more? I think we can.
So in the school committee, you have three major responsibilities. Oversight of the superintendent, policy building, and budget oversight. So when we talk about something like bullying, at first it can seem like you only have so many handfuls of people. Obviously there are policies in place. Obviously those policies don't work. So before we start to talk about policies, crafting new policies, I think we look at our other level, which is finances. And so this year, Jonathan Snowgrove received a grant that allowed him and his team of social emotional learning experts to spend a year surveying their kids, talking to them, finding out what makes them anxious, how they act out, teaching them how to talk about their own feelings. That was all grant funded. I'm excited, and I think other folks here are excited about the fact that we approved that grant. We now need to see more grants so other experts who aren't in this room can work with our kids.
Thank you. We have another hand. Stand up, guys. Picture taken. Thank you so much. Everyone likes to be seen in this crowd. Okay. Smile for the camera. 1, 2, 3.
People in the hallway, can you guys close the door? Thank you. Hi everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to be in here. This is what civil engagement is all about. And it's kind of the reason why I'm running. So a little bit about me. My name is Ella Sarah. I'm a social worker here in the city for the past 17 years. I have worked in all level of agencies, state agencies here, starting with DCF, DTA, DHCD, and I also sit as Vice President of the Board of Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. I am a mom of 2. You guys will always see me and my kids in the community because I believe in order for them to know what it's like to serve the community, they have to start now and they have to see me doing that. So the reason why I decided to run is simply because City Council and the person that you elect is your neighbor. So therefore, just like you go to your neighbor to chit-chat, to borrow something, or to find out what's going on, that's the same thing that you should do with the City Council. City Council is also the closest level of government to the people. So therefore, it should be accessible. That means that not only right now should they be coming to you to seek your votes, but emails throughout the year should be answered. We should have meetings whenever there's a budget hearing or anything that affects the ward. We should have meetings to know about that. We should also have emails, newsletter, however it is it takes to communicate with the residents, that should be used. So that is simply what I'm doing. I am not making no other promise except for that I'm always going to compensate. I'm always going to be in community like I have been for all of the years that I have been in Brockton, and making sure that people know what's going on. So that way, when I stand in council and said I'm making this decision on behalf of the residents, I have spoken to you guys, and the decision is not my decision, but it's our decision together. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Keith, and I am running to be the next Ward 3 City Councilor. To tell you a little bit about myself, I've been married to my wife Kathy for 39 years. Been together for 42. We have 7 children and 12 grandchildren. I'm over a 35-year resident of the city of Brockton. As your next Ward 3 Councilor, I will be focused on education, public safety, neighborhood development and infrastructure, economic opportunity, and transparency and accountability. My experience, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I am an ordained deacon of Jubilee Church. I am a 2014 to 2017 board member of the Planning Board and Economic Development, 2014 to 2017 board member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I have an extensive background in law enforcement. I work for the MBTA, and I'm past chairman of the Head Start program for the state of Massachusetts. The reason why I am running is because I think that we have been underserved by all of our councils, all of our city government. Because I think that the nepotism of going out and getting your friends to run and family members and everybody that things like they already do that are sitting there means that we've been getting just the same thing year after year after year. And all of you know, because all of you have been complaining, I've been doing this for a while, running for City Councilor-At-Large, in the last election, in this one, running for Board Council. You all know that you've been complaining just like I have as a citizen of the city. So what I'm saying is nothing new to you. Okay, but the change is coming. And it's up to each and every last one of you to change the dynamics of the city. And I'm hoping that on election day, you vote for Gary Keith Sr., okay, as your next Ward 3 councilor. I do not have a primary, so I'm hoping that you all can vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Connie Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a preacher, so I don't need a microphone. One of the things that we know is that we are in a house of faith. I need 10 seconds. Father God, in the precious name of the God of Abraham, I ask that you bless each and every occupant in this building. Lord, bring peace upon them, that we may do your will, which is the will of human rights. And the people of God say, amen. Amen. I also want to remind us that we are still looking for Marie Lusant, who has been missing since July from the Carefree Towers. Let us not forget her family. Let us not forget the public safety officials that have been looking for her. The question is, why am I running? I'm running because we need rent stabilization in the city of Brockton. What is wrong with us that we can't have rents lowered and set aside for all these new buildings that are going up? It's not fair that people have to move out of the city of Brockton. We want our people to stay right
Green.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Let me express my appreciation to the NAACP and to this church for hosting us in this very important meeting today. Perhaps most importantly, let me say thank you to the community for coming out, for being so involved and for caring about your community in such a way that you will intentionally set the time aside to be here and to engage in this process and to meet those who are running for public office. My name is Marlon Green, and I am honored to stand before you as a candidate for Brockton City Council representing Ward 1. Let me begin by saying that this meeting today is not about me, it is about all of us. It is about our neighborhoods, families, our schools, and a shared vision for a stronger, safer, and vibrant Brockton community. And undoubtedly, we are at a pivotal moment in our story and in the life of this city. Ward 1 especially, and Brockton as a whole. We are filled with untapped potential, powerful voices, and people who care deeply about where we live and where we raise our children. And so too often those voices have gone unheard and their potentials have been overlooked. I'm running because I believe every resident deserves to be heard, respected, and served. And I'm running because I've spent over 2 decades listening, leading, and working, whether in the church, whether in the hospitals, or in the community. And I've walked alongside families throughout my career, navigating challenges and celebrating victories. And I know that real leadership starts with showing up and following through. And so, today, I am here not just to talk, but I'm also here to listen and to hear what matters most to the voters of our city and to the voters of Ward 1. I want to thank you again for taking the time to hear and to be engaged in this process. And I look forward to coming alongside you and representing what your cares, your concerns, your fears, and your ideas are for how we can make our community stronger and more engaged. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Jamal.
Hello everyone, hi. Good afternoon to our friends, our neighbors. My name is Jamal Brathwaite and I'm running for Brockton City Council for Ward 6. And the reason why is because I'm deeply concerned about our shared future here in Brockton and how we can ensure that we promote a better environment in Brockton for children, for parents, for city employees, and for guests who come to Brockton. So when they come to Brockton, they have a great positive experience and one that they tell other people about. Now, with my areas of focus, or even before coming to Brockton, I lived in London, England for 10 years where I worked in banking. And in the past 22 years, I worked in financial services. 10 years as an accountant, and another 10 plus years as either an auditor or compliance officer. And one of the reasons why I'm running for city council in Brockton is that I feel that the weakest department in Brockton is the city auditor's department. And let me be a little bit more specific. As of June of this year, the city auditor role went vacant, and it was never advertised to the public. And we're in the same position we were in back in February 2020 when the role first went vacant. We didn't advertise the roles to the public. We went into a school deficit. No one in the city can really articulate clearly what's going on and what our current financial condition is. So I'm advocating that you vote for myself, Jamal Rathod, running for Brockton City Council, for Ward 6, so that we can improve our oversight over city finances, starting with the food vendor agreement. We need to improve the quality of school breakfasts and lunches, and that starts by the city councilors reviewing the food vendor agreement, which is a 5-year agreement. They never reviewed it, and the contract never went out to bid. So not only are we breaching Mass General law, but we don't even know if we're getting the best value for money. I'm asking for your vote for Brockton City Council for Ward 6 so that we can hire an auditor to work for the city of Brockton to improve the quality of life for you, your neighbors, and all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal. Lisa.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming on this beautiful Saturday when we could all actually be at the beach or watching the Patriots game. But we're not, and I haven't been for the last 4 years because I've been fighting and working for my neighbors and all of the people in Ward 6 because we need help. The incumbent is checked out. We have been crushed and ground for 4 years, going on 7 at this point. We stopped the fake sports complex and we have a Boston legacy coming at this point. It's unbelievable what has happened here. We really need someone like myself who understands government. I've been living in Brockton for 20 years at 250 Howard Street, across from what was Movie Park. I bought my house because it was built in 1776. I've loved it here. I want to work for my neighbors. I could not believe that no one would help us. I've worked in the news. I'm a public defender. I'm an investigator for the public defender's office. I realized that I would have to stand up because no one knew how to do it. They were going about it the wrong way. I understand government. I've learned a lot. I have a lot to say about that, but it's for our future, it's for our present, and it's for the past. We need change. The incumbent has checked out. Jamal wants to be an auditor. He does not want to be the city councilor. I've already done the hard work. All they want to do is the easy work. We need change. I know how to do it. Vote for the woman who did the work, and will continue to do the work. Thank you very much.
Make sure I put my son on. Before I begin, I want to share a story. Thursday was community night at the Rock Stadium, and I was there traveling with my wife and my 2 beautiful children. And as we're driving on Belmont Street, Jacob sees all the political signs, and he goes, "Dada, look at it, all your friends." So you guys are all my friends, all right? As I've said before, I just hope everybody here today is running for the right reason. We're here for Brockton, because Brockton deserves better. I'd like to tell a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Ulysses Farrell. Born and raised in the city of Brockton, I grew up on Winthrop Street, son to Carlos and Francisca Farrell. I went to Whitman School, started at Davis School, then Whitman School, and then Brockton High, class of 2002. After graduation, I went on to UMass Boston, where I received my bachelor's in criminal justice and a minor in political science. There at UMass Boston, I was very active on campus, involved in a number of social clubs. I went to New Orleans twice after Hurricane Katrina, helped do some cleanup. I went to England on a student trip. I was the vice president of the student government in 2007. And I met so many great people from the Commonwealth, and we shared so many ideas, and we grew together. Fast forward to today, here I am as a young adult. I work for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for the Massachusetts Trial Courts in Plymouth County. There I've been serving as the head administrative assistant for the past 11 years. As the head administrative assistant, for the past 6. I wear a lot of different hats. I serve a lot of different roles. But with great pride, I serve the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. One thing that happened to me when I came back to Brockton from graduating is I felt a void. After being so involved in campus, I wanted to give back to my community. So I filled out my resume, prepared my resume, and I sent a letter to, at the time, Mayor Carpenter. I wanted to get on a board on the city of Brockton, because I knew there, with community engagement and government, that I could use my skill set to make a difference. So for the past 8 years, I've been on the Parks and Recreations Commission, serving the city of Brockton. I had the pleasure of serving on the DW Field Master Plan Committee, helping preserve one of the gems of the city, DW Field Park, a park that is welcome to all. So I'm running because Brockton needs leadership. Government is filled with many roles, and I just want to make sure everybody is doing their job. That's leadership. I'm at the trial court. I'm a union steward. I'm on the IT governance committee, sharing ideas, growing, always trying to improve services. That's what we need. The bar shouldn't be at just the bare minimum. Right now, with the challenges that we face, I know these positions are part-time, but we have full-time problems in Brockton. We need full-time commitment. So with your help, that's what I want us to do. We all need to be part of the process and raise the bar. I have 2 young children, and I want to make sure that the world that I leave behind for them is the better, just like my parents did for me, and make sure it's better for them. So with your help, I'm fully confident we can do that. If you look at the Brockton seal, it says 3 things.
Come on, guys.
Education, industry, and progress. I'm running for Ward 1. I'm running for Ward 1, and the one thing you will know is I'm running, but I'm walking, I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm crawling. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward for my ward. I'm moving forward for my city. I'm moving forward for the best country in the world. God bless, and thank you.
Steve?
Thank you for the honor of being here today. My name is Steve Davis. I'm also running for the Brockton City Council. I was born and raised in Brockton. I was born in Brockton Hospital. I attended the Brockton school system, kindergarten through high school. Then I graduated from Bridgewater State College. Received my bachelor's degree in business. I've been a member of the Brockton zoning board for 6 years. We went through many great projects. I have 3 daughters. Each are also in the Brockton Hospital. And they also work at the Brockton school system from kindergarten through high school. I'm a homeowner, property owner, and I'm a business owner downtown Brockton since 1989. I've seen ups and downs of downtown Brockton in the past 35 years. I've had many opportunities to move my business out of the city, but I love Brockton, and I believe in Brockton. I stand for strong streets, smarter spending, and a great future. And for public safety, one of the biggest obstacles we face is the homeless situation. It's a shame with all the great projects that have been developed in Brockton, that the first thing you see when you enter the downtown area is the homeless under the bridges and all the drug use. I personally deal with this homeless situation and the drug abuse on a daily basis. It's unacceptable. It's not helping our city. It's definitely not helping the business. My perspective of the city from a business or downtown is much different than most people's. My experience is what separates me from the other candidates running for the city of the Ward 1 City Council. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the NAACP for inviting me out here. I know I only got 2 minutes to speak. I know everybody up here is talking about what they're going to do, but I want to show you what exactly a ward councilor is supposed to do when they're elected. I'm here today and I'm taking my 2 minutes to let you guys know that one of the platforms I'm running on is mental health. While a lot of us were out here visiting different events today, I was at a funeral this morning for a Brockton school teacher, a paraprofessional from Downey School, whose son committed suicide 2 weeks ago. 21 years old, black male, put a gun in his mouth, shot himself, dead, Brockton school teacher. I want to bring this up because I'm here at the NAACP and I'm wearing this shirt right now. Black men, forgive yourself. Because sometimes black men take too much pressures in, hold it in, keep that stress in, and then when it's too late, we do things like suicide by cop or we take our own lives. Since 2023, the average age of suicide in black males is the ages of 10 to 24. After having trauma, those numbers go up by 54%. This young man who took his life last Thursday in his house with his girlfriend, he could have been one of these statistics because all over social media, they've been sharing this video of a young black man being assaulted in his car, having his window broken, punched in his face. I can come up here and promise everybody in the world, but a ward counselor should be coming in here and telling people about the issues that they need to address right away. I want to show you guys how a city councilor is supposed to work for the award. I need everybody who's in here tonight to do their homework because that's my line. I need everybody in here, all my counselors, I need you to go on to social media tonight. Put hashtag 988, hashtag mental awareness. We need to speak the conversations that need to be had because I'm tired in the black community where we don't discuss mental health. That's just crazy Joe down the street. That's just crazy Ann down the street. We need to focus on mental health issues because that's part of the problem that goes on. But I do have a very more platform to continue on. With that, I needed to let people know. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Thompson. I'm Brockton's current Ward 5 City Councilor. I want to thank you, Phyllis, for putting on this debate. It's always a pleasure coming out and speaking with everyone. It's been the honor of my life to serve the constituents of Ward 5. And I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an attorney, and I'm a veteran. And I was sent to City Hall to work, and over the last 2 years, I've done just that for my constituents, trying to enact ordinances which I believe are in Brockton's best interest. Some of those ordinances that I've sponsored and drafted and got passed, the first one was the anti-encampment ordinance. I hear Mr. Leanis as a business owner downtown and many other residents downtown really deal with a problem underneath our bridges. It was my intent to have our city take back our public spaces. I enacted that anti-encampment ordinance so that we can clear up our bridges. Unfortunately, our administration refuses to enforce it, but I'm hoping that the next administration will work with me to start enforcing the ordinances that we have on our books. Additionally, I'm currently working on the senior residential ordinance, an ordinance to allow our seniors to remain in Brockton, age in place, and have a community in which they can downsize and eliminate the burdens of household ownership. The district attorney, the Plymouth County district attorney appointed me as an advisory board member in the Plymouth County Community Court. This is a court that's going to be used to address quality of life issues throughout the city of Brockton. I'm a member of the advisory board, and this board will be stood up next month. That's going to help really address a lot of the quality of life issues that Brockton deals with throughout the city. I'm also on the Brockton High School Renovation Committee and also part of a smaller working group so that we can work to potentially, in the short near future, renovate Brockton High or even build a whole new high school. These are the things that are important for our students, for our citizens, for everyone sitting here. And if you elect me, again, as your Ward 5 City Councilor, I will continue to do the work. And so I appreciate your time, and thank you to everybody for being on stage. Stepping forward, trying to serve your community is one of the highest duties that we all have, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you.
Sit down. The Board Councilor is an elected official who represents a specific geographical area known as a ward. They are responsible for representing the interests and concerns of the residents within their ward. Now, you are seeking re-election. Over the years, do you think you have met all the criteria of that definition? And what do you think is your biggest accomplishment?
Well, my biggest accomplishment is passing ordinance. That is the job of a city councilor. We're legislators. And so what we are to do is identify problems within our city and then develop ordinances to address those problems. A few. I saw that food trucks were not operable in the city of Brockton. I drafted and passed Brockton's first food truck ordinance. I think everybody here over the summer can see that at times there's loud parties in the city. I passed Brockton's first residential noise ordinance. Again, I spoke about our encampment ordinance. I passed the roadway safety ordinance, the anti-loitering ordinance, worked to modernize our zoning ordinances, and are currently trying to pass the senior residential ordinance. I think the number one duty is to identify those problems and try to pass laws that address those problems. But I think another equally important is to show up. Right? I'm out in the community all the time. I show up. I make sure that I attend as many events as possible because I want to hear from my constituents. Also, not just showing up to events and throughout the city, but to the job I was elected to. I believe I probably have the highest attendance rate of any city councilor regarding subcommittees, finance committee, and our city council. I show up. I'm there every single day working to improve my neighborhood, to improve my ward, and it's been in the honor of my life. And I'm going to continue to do that as long as you'll have me. And I'm going to work with anyone here who's elected to the City Council. I'm going to continue to work with my school committee members to push the Boys and Girls Club, make sure that happens. To make sure that Brockton has the finest education system in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that our roads are paved, that our neighborhoods are safe, that we have an attractive business climate for businesses to open up in our city, and that this is a place that we can all be proud of. I know we live in an amazing city. We have a lot more work to do, but I believe I am the right person for Ward 5 to continue the work that needs to be done. Thank you so much, Phyllis. I appreciate it.
President of the Ward Council, advocating for the needs and concerns of your ward residents. Are you prepared to take this on? And what would you do different from the incumbent?
Yes, I'm fully prepared to do this job just because this is something that I have been doing for the longest time in Brockton. Jeff, thank you for showing up today. But when we need people to show up, we need people to show up at the doors. Not at events right here where we can collect votes, not at events where we can collect support, but we need to show up at people's door. You mentioned a couple of things that you're proud of, and kudos to you, but you failed to say a couple of things on that. The homeless encampment thing, right? You're criminalizing people that are homeless. You're finding people that are homeless. They can't pay that. We need to find other ways to ensure that those under the bridge that are homeless and have substance abuse get the help that they need. Some of them are not our residents. Let's send them back to where they come from. You mentioned the senior community. All in favor of that. But you forgot to mention that 10 acres of that is going to be multi-family home. Senior community is senior community, not with multi-family homes. So you forgot to mention that, so I feel it's important for the people to know this. I have been door knocking every day. I have been talking to my community. Today is my daughter's celebration of her birthday. I am here. I started door knocking at 8 a.m. Every time I'm out at the door, our residents are telling me this is the first time people are coming around. I don't know who the council is. Is Ann still the council? So again, it's great that we show up for a photo op, but we need to show up where the residents are, which is here, which is at their door, which is at the park. This is the housing complex, not just the elderly to take their votes, but we we have the 4th Street projects. Visit them. Go to Hill Street. Visit them. That's where people need the help. Not towards the line of Whitman, not towards the line of Abington, but down in the east side. Downtown is part of Ward 5, so that issue that is happening there is affecting us, and we need to talk to the people at Hill Street, and also 4th Street because it affects them. Again, I commend you because about all the incumbents, you're the only one that shows up. But if we're going to talk about our accomplishment, we need to be fully transparent about what exactly it means because nobody knows the fine print and nobody is reading it because nobody's talking to them fully about it. Thank you.
Any questions?
Well, first of all, I am fully committed to taking on this challenge. As you know, I've been doing this for a long time, trying to see a change in Brockton, and I think I am that change in Brockton to make a difference. One of the things that I can do differently, and I've been saying this in all the past elections, and I'll tell you, in the last 2 years, no one has done it, and that's regular board meetings. Okay, you need to keep your constituents informed as to what's going on. Right now, our current councilors sit there, they go there, and they make their votes. But guess what? That's their vote. Most of the time, like Ellie said, I knock on a lot of doors, and no one even knows who their councilors are. Okay, so the fact that none of the information that you're voting on is getting back to the voters. Okay, and as far as the overlay district, nothing against you personally, Jeff, but I know that my opponent co-sponsored that. Okay, the overlay district for the 55 and over community. Okay, and he tried to push it through to where people didn't even know what was going on. Okay, but that was, I mean, who wants to live in a 55 and over community with a multi-unit next door to you? Okay, these are things because of the fact that you have big money donors that are backing some of these campaigns. And these are things that need to stop. These are things where they're not transparent because they're not protecting our interests. They're protecting their own interests. And these are things that need to change. So as far as that goes, I will be transparent, I will be accessible, I will be, you can reach me at any time. I am not going to shy away from a hard vote. Okay, I've been out here doing this year after year after year, even after the election when I lost. I've done the work as a counselor. The only thing I haven't had is the seat. And I'm asking each and every last one of you this year to give me the seat to where we can make a difference here in Brockton. Because right now, nothing is going on. We keep seeing the same people elected, and I'll tell you something, and if it's an open seat, they go out and ask one of their friends and push them in there, okay, with the power that they already have in there. And you all know that that is wrong. And if you agree with me, say it. It's wrong. It's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, President Ellis. I'm going to stand before you all because you deserve that respect. There's no question that I'm prepared to be a city councilor in the city of Brockton. So let me just clean something up. Susan was here. The current councilor was here, and she's gone. And I don't know why, because nobody knows who she is. Similar to the voices that I've heard up here today, you knock on the doors and they say, who's the current councilor? They don't know who the current councilor is. What that tells me is that there's a lack of representation. Because if you don't know the people of God that are within your ward, there's no way you could be working for them. So what I would do differently is to be that voice that I've always been for 38 years. You're not looking at someone who's inexperienced. You're looking at someone that cannot be bought. I'm not looking for the development money, whether it's coming from here or there. I'm not looking for favors. I'm not looking to put a family member in a city job. I'm not looking to get somebody in the school committee. I'm just simply looking to represent you all's interests. What I would do different, I would be available, and you can make sure that I would be your voice. I'm Tony Branch.
For the past 20 years, I have been intentionally engaged in focusing on engaging people and engaging the community and bringing folks together at the table to form a common solution to the many different problems that they face. And I've done that in the
politics of the church and community. I've also done it in my professional life, working in healthcare, specifically on research outside of things. I've done that for over 20 years. My experience and my education, I went to UMass Boston, UMass Boston, graduated from UMass Boston. I did my master's at Cambridge, and I'm a few months out from completing my PhD in organizational leadership with a specific focus on social justice. My experience, my education has prepared me to be people-focused and people-centric. This role as a city councilor is focused on people. And we utilize policies, we utilize the different tools that's available within the city to render better services to the people that we serve. And I've been doing this for over 20 years of my life. I take an evidence-based approach to solving problems, identifying proof of concept, and to take a methodical approach in addressing the real serious issues that people face every day in their lives. We all want a safer community, and we want a higher quality of life. We want to break on taxes, property taxes. I certainly do. Every year my taxes go up on my property. I want to break as well. Let's find ways to do that. And the solution to the problems that we face in our community does not lie solely in one person. It lies in the community as a whole. So we have to find ways to engage the community to find solutions to the problem. Yes, I am prepared for the challenge.
Jamal, are you prepared?
Yes, thank you for asking, fellas. I am ready to be Brockton City Council for Ward 6. And what I would do differently, I would just start with what Gary Keith just talked about. We have had board meetings. No elected official in Brockton has regular board meetings. I'll never forget when Mayor Sullivan first came into office, he had one quarterly meeting, but it's been 6 years and we've never had another quarterly town hall ever. And that's an issue. So as a city councilor, I would have quarterly meetings. And one way, proof is in the pudding. For the past 5 years, I've hosted the Brockton Residents Forum every Sunday, which is an opportunity for residents to get to know one another, discuss city council meetings and agendas, and to reconcile them with resident priorities. When you look on the Brockton City events calendar, the most frequently occurring event on the calendar for the past 5 years is the Brockton Residents Forum. So we're going to continue that if I'm elected. 1. 2 is that, I spoke about it a bit earlier, no city council currently reviews the school food vendor agreement between Chartwells and the city of Brockton. Well, guess what? Not only is that a breach of the city charter that requires the city councilors to review all 5-year agreements and 5-year appointments, which you're not doing, but also Mass General Law requires that those vendors, that there must be a bidding process, but there was no bid at all. So right now, our children in Brockton Public Schools, all 14,000 of them are being disserviced because nobody here in Brockton is reviewing that food vendor agreement. I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm gonna make sure we have a public conversation on it and make sure that that contract goes out to bid, it receives city council review and approval, and it adheres to Mass General laws. In addition, I'm going to advocate that we do traffic enforcement. I know nobody wants to get pulled over by the police, but we got way too many accidents. And one of the underlying issues in Brockton is that we don't adhere to the basic rule of law. Not when it comes to traffic enforcement, not when it comes to compliance with the Mass General Law Acts of 1990 that sets the standards for our CFO and our city auditor. We don't adhere to that. And we don't have evidence that we don't adhere to that because our auditors don't conduct internal control testing that verifies they're doing the activities that are providing view assurance on our finances. And lastly, I just want to say it's so important that we all just get along, but we need to have an honest conversation because we can't progress as a society if we can't have an honest conversation. So I respect everyone and I welcome everyone to the conversation. Please join the Brockton Residents Forum on Sundays from 11 to 12. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'm already doing things differently than the incumbent. I'm already working with my neighbors to bring good, positive change. Jamal was helping us with that. Yes, I understand he has the residents forum, but if you miss the forum, oh well, he's not going to provide you with any of the information like I asked for the audit. So Jamal is working for himself. The incumbent is working for himself. I am working for the residents of Brockton in Ward 6. I would like to initiate a capital improvement plan. If the school department didn't go apocalypse now, $18 million represents 18 miles of road. We could start there. Let's start there. I would also like to do board meetings. That would be very easy. No one's doing those anymore. There's this thorough lack of information. Our board councilor is a millennium. He doesn't have a website or a Facebook page or a blog. We have no information. My neighbors know me. I've been working for my neighbors. I'm ready, willing, and prepared. I'm very good at contracts. I'm very good at numbers. No one has mentioned that the city council has increased their own budget by $400,000. Why is that? Where's that money going? Where is the money going? Yes, and I agree with the school department. We have good people in there now who I think have the right interests in mind. But where is the money going? I would ask the auditor to come in every month to check those balances. Who's putting in money? Where does the budget exist? How much are we spending? And if we have to, why don't we have all the department heads? We need to do more. We don't want the maximum lease. That's what has been happening in our ward. The maximum lease. The very little photo ops, showing up and leaving very quickly, not talking to anyone. I talk to everyone. I will work with anyone as long as you're not lying and cheating and trying to work for special interests and not all of the people in Ward 6. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
So I'm going to quote the Honorable Judge Layton. He was a federal court judge. He stayed with us, passed away, I think, at 105. He was at the VA hospital. My parents are from the Cape Verde Islands. I was born here. But he said, "Trabalho nunca engana se dono." So hard work always pays off, right? So if you don't put in the time, you won't get the results you want. And I wouldn't have run for office if I wasn't willing to put in the time to get the results that I need. We need a Brockton has so much potential. We're located 30 minutes from our capital. We have a train station. We have a bus transportation system. We have an educational system. Yes, it has some issues, but all my cousins went to, out of 13 of us first cousins, 10 of us went to Brockton High, and we're all doing well. So Brockton High, I have my aunt and uncle, teachers at the high school, and they had a wonderful time teaching at the high school and providing quality education to our children, right? So I know there's a lot of issues that we have in the city, but we need to take the time, we need to come together, and we need to sit down and have honest conversations. At my office, I had a picture. It was a picture of a bridge. This was when I was in student government, and it said communication. Communication is building bridges. We're a diverse community, but if you get to know one another, we have a lot in common. I think those values that I share from my children, wanting them to have safe streets to grow up and ride their bike, it worries me how the accidents that are occurring in Brockton, cars flipping over, people having absolutely no care for the law. That worries me as a parent. And God forbid my son wants to ride his bike. So I want to be out there in the forefront. I want to be raising the issues. I do want to have council meetings. I want to interact with the community. I want to get your feedback. And then when it comes time to have decisions, like I said, those 3 boxes: education, industry, and progress. We got to make sure that we're checking all those boxes as we're going to move forward as a society, right?
Yes.
The greatest, last thing I will say, right? Listening. A counselor should always be listening, everywhere and anywhere. Thank you for listening.
Steve? going to?
As a ward counselor, I'm going to do the board meetings. And I've been on the zoning board, and as a group, we work great together. We have so much respect for each other, and 5 different perspectives that we see. Everybody has a different view. We may not always agree, but at the end, we respect each other and move on. And that's what I want to do to the city council. And also as a full-time business owner, something simple like, well, it's not simple to fix, but to identify the issue of the homelessness. Once we correct that, many goes away. That's simple and possible.
Thank you for your time again. One of the things I got to mention, why and what I would change, is because I'm a statistic, a Brockton statistic. 2010 and 2013, I applied for a job at the DPW. I was discriminated against because they put AA on my resume for Afro-American and B on my 2013 resume because I was black. I was denied a job at the DPW, and I was also involved in the lawsuit that almost bankrupted this entire city. It was so ignorant what they did, and it had to be addressed. Another statistic, why I'm involved with the city and want to step up for ward counselor, is because 3 years ago, 2 days after Brockton Hospital caught fire and closed down, I was crossing the street, the crosswalk on Crescent Street. I got hit by a car, crossing the street, lady coming up the other side, fractured my knee, tore my ACL, my PCL, my MCL. Went through over a year of rehab. I hear a lot of people talking about crash data and stuff like that. I worked at the MBTA for over 25 years. I worked for Massport. I analyze crash data. Right now in Brockton, we're only at 869 accidents. We're averaging 200, we average 2,000 a year. We're below that average. We need to have the uncomfortable conversations when it comes to these accidents. When you look at the word community, the last 5 letters spells out unity. We need to be unified, and we need to have the uncomfortable conversations. We can all say what we're going to do, but we need to start holding people accountable. When you look at the crash data, teenagers are the #1, elderly are #2. We need to start holding parents accountable for allowing their kids who have new licenses, driving friends around that plays into these high accident rates. So these are some of the things. If you want a good ward counselor, you need to have the uncomfortable conversations such as these. Please. Listen to me. These are the things that need to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, King. Can we have another hand for all the candidates? And can I get a picture of all of them before they get to the stage? Guys, please stand. Start out with you guys introducing yourselves and letting us know why you are running for mayor. Want to start with you guys?
So my name is Lucy Yai, and I'm running for mayor of Brockton. I was born and raised here, and I am running because, like most of you, and even folks that aren't in this room, we are often overlooked and not heard. And folks have asked, where have I been? And I say, I've been in the margins. What I mean by that is where I come from, less than 1% of youth will go on to graduate college. It's a very sobering reality. And where I come from in this city, we still see the same issues prevail. So I'll be ready for, and I look at it. But when I left here to go on to pursue my degree, I realized that the issues have only continued to accumulate. And when we look at leadership, right, there's no one person to point at, it's a system that works this way. And although I was told when I graduated high school to go finish my degree before I could work anywhere in the city, I did that. And I went on to get my master's from Georgetown in policy. And with their full scholarship. So it's really important to know because I come from low income. I come from the very families that it's hard. And you know, you have to learn how to make $1 out of 15 cents. And when we see the economy and where we are heading, we really need someone who's going to be savvy, nimble, innovative, and understand how to work with multiple people because the mayor, although municipal power is distributed differently in every city, in Brockton, we do not have veto or executive order power. And so what does that mean? We need someone who's a team player who can work with multiple people across all sectors. And what makes me different from anybody else running from office is that I am not a part of the establishment. It's a fresh look, a new perspective, and someone who's willing to work with everyone, and my track record proves that. So I hope as we continue to talk, I'll share more about my story. But in short, I do want to end with, I'm not a politician, but I am a product of this community. And I'm running to protect it, to build it, and to lead with integrity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jean Brown.
Thank you so much. Well, what it was said, I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this, and of course the media and those of you who take the time to come here. Some of you know me, and some of you do not. I am Jean Brockton Area Branch. Some people call me James, some people call me Jimothy. What's unique about this is that I am the guy with the long lasting. Why am I running for mayor? Number one, we have to go against the establishment. Day in, day out, we see the same face, the same people, with different names. Let me just put it to you like this. Tonight, it's a particular order for me because let's face it, my presence, even on this stage, is very unlikely, given the situation that has been going on. I was born and raised in Haiti, and I was fortunate to come in this country in 2010 after the birth. When I first came here, number one, I could not speak the language, and I did not know anyway. But what I had a heart and a desire to succeed. What I did, I engaged within this community by going to the public library to learn English as a second language, which I saved this year $500,000. I fought the mayor on that one, and I said, when he wanted to cut the budget, I said, you can't, because that part of the city is what makes me money. I'm pretty positive we're going to get into it. Number two, I got my first job as a busboy at Christian's Restaurant. Those of you who are Bostonians knows this place very well. This was the foundation of the Brockton family, whereby they have a great salad over there. I worked there as a busboy and also as a pizza maker. I hated the pizza because it was too hard. The reason I'm saying this is because I want to build that foundation. Number two, from the library, learning English as a second language, I went to Massasoit. And it's so funny tonight, I got Jasmine and Josie over there, and Melissa, whom I met in college, Cynthia Hodge's daughter, who was supporting my campaign this year. As this young kid going into Massasoit, get engaged to become the first migrant student trustee. I could not even speak the language, but they knew if they give it a chance, I would carry on. Number two, I went from Massasoit to Suffolk University, where I graduated from both Massasoit and Suffolk with distinction. I'm not smart, but I do have a willingness to learn. From that point on, I worked for Mike Whitty in the House, Mike Whitty in the Senate, and of course I worked for Linda Balzoni. And I worked for Susan Bon. I continue to move on. And most recently, I worked for Susan Bon as a special investigator within the Foreign Examination Department. And as we speak, I'm a correctional officer. But for people that may not know, they say, well, who's this guy? Well, as we speak, I believe that, honestly, I am the only person on this stage that can say that I put more than $25,000 of my money into that race. I am not part of the establishment. And I don't take any money from the establishment. When you are talking about somebody that can go to City Hall and fought them, I am your guy. Most recently, one of the council acknowledged that they have a proposal for the homeless situation. I voted against it because you know why? It was wrong and I will still vote against it. And number two, they are telling you this is what we have to do. But guess what? Being homeless is not a crime. We gotta be human and we'll talk about it. I'm pretty positive that we'll moment to talk about this. But I'm honored to be here and thank you for having me. Let's have discussion on the day.
Thank you.
Thank you for the donation being on you, Phyllis. My name is Richard Ripley. You probably know me better as the bad bus guy here. I believe that no single issue in our city is more important than the physical safety of our people. That is why I have been fighting this administration for 29 months for the right of our kids and our disabled seniors to be safe on the public bus. I'm proud to announce that the City of Brockton has agreed to assist myself in our upcoming public safety campaign for safety on the public bus. Let's see. I believe that I am just what our city needs, a new kind of mayor, a mayor who will stand up and fight for you, the people, not against the people. That said, I hope you'll forgive me and understand what I am about to say. Before we rush to judgment and put a mayoral candidate in the seat of power, let us pause and take a deep breath. Our city is broken. We are in the middle of an election that will determine if our city finally turns the corner and moves down the path to a Brockton in which everyone benefits. But first,
we must confront and talk openly and honestly about the elephant in Brockton politics, corruption. For 5.5 years, the administration, including candidates for mayor and others, have been willing partners to seize control of our money, control of our city, and control of us. They have done this through manipulation tactics, such as installing a city auditor at the recent Finance Committee meeting at the request of the mayor, then proceeding to rubber stamp that mayor's request by voting to confirm the mayor's choice without asking even one question to the gentleman. This was done because the new city auditor is weak and inexperienced. This manipulation scheme will allow the new mayor and his partners to hold on to their power over us. I say now, this naked power grab must end. The days of the good old boy, backslapping politics, screw the people are over. We need to bring back the rule of law, accountability, and common sense to Brockton government. Let me say very clearly, Brockton belongs to the people. We the people have the power to change our city, but we the people need to exercise our power. Therefore, since our corrupt elected leaders will never voluntarily give up their ill-gotten power, we the people must reach out with both hands and grab that power and take it back. Take power! Next, I want to tell you a story. As I walked around Brockton during my campaign, I noticed a malaise among the people, an overwhelming feeling of hopelessness, a feeling that nobody cares about them, that nothing will change. The people feel defeated. This should be unacceptable. No resident of Brockton should ever be afraid to come to the mayor's office or talk to their city councilor about a legitimate issue. No one should fear that. We must find a way to give the people hope again. Finally, I want you all to do me a favor. When you get to the voting booth on September 16th and again on November 4th, I want you to do me a favor. Close your eyes and picture the faces of your children, your kids, and your grandkids. They are why you are voting, so they can live in a better Brockton. Thank you.
Now comes the question. Is the examination of our city budget. What is the total budget amount for this new fiscal year? Do you have your own ideas of priority spending, and what would that look like in your very first budget as mayor?
I'll take it. As one of your city council members, the budget is $555 million. It's a lot of money, but it's not enough because of what we have to do. So in terms of my priorities, as always, education. And what I mean by education, it's not just the education through the Brockton Public School, but also adult education. Because at the end of the day, we are having people within our community who may have a desire to learn, but they don't have a space to do it. We have to invest in qualified education. And it must be quality because the reason is that I don't care where you live in the city, as long as you live in here, you gotta be able to receive the best of what the city has to offer. We are all taxpayers, and when it's come down, people always focus on law enforcement. I am 100% in favor of law enforcement. But law enforcement is not only the Brockton Police, it's not only the fire station, but also is traffic enforcement, making sure that when people are driving, they slow down. Law enforcement is making sure that when somebody is having something at their house, that noise doesn't bother the person next to it. Law enforcement is working in collaboration with everybody where we as a city can move forward. What I'm proud of is that I have always advocated to put more money in the school system. This is one thing that you guys don't have to worry about. My mother is an educator, so there's no way I can get away with it. So we will invest in quality education. We will invest in youth empowerment. We will invest in actually mental health because we have a lot of people out there who are facing mental health problems. So it's important for people to understand that $555 million, it is the mayor's ability to determine where that money goes. The city council can only vote on it, but we don't have the power to allocate it. And I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. There was a proposal whereby the mayor wanted to cut the library budget. It was only I who stood against it, whereby I owed $300,000 from him, and I said, you're gonna fire your staff. And $300 for the mayor's office, that's a lot of money. And because of that, I seized his money, he gave me my money, and I gave him his money back. And that's the reason why you see the West Branch is open, the East Branch is open, and we have more hours within the City Branch. I believe we'll talk more about this, so I'll talk from there.
So, total budget is $555 million, just a little bit over $500 million. What I would fully focus on is, so first and foremost, our largest budget item is the education department. And I am a firm believer that education is the greatest equalizer. It's what's granted me all the opportunities and the reason why I'm able to stand here today with the skill set I have and the village of people I have. And so I always say our educators are our unsung heroes. And something that I think is more detriment, there's an invisible cost we don't pay attention to, is when we remove our teachers. Or even furthermore, you mentioned mental health. No one's talking about behavioral health. And what I've seen in our Brockton High School, especially when a couple years ago when folks were talking about deploying the National Guard, the response that we're using and how we're responding to the issues, I don't think it's holistic or culturally responsive. So what I want to do with the budget, what I would prioritize, is holistic, responsive systems. And what does that look like? So starting first with our education department, I've spoken to young people along the campaign and parents, and they can talk about the behavioral health component. And what I mean by that is, oftentimes we conflate it with mental health, but our kids, the fights that they're getting into, the violence that they're seeing, or the trauma-inducing events that they're experiencing, we can give a kid a job, we can give them more money, we can give them a great school, but if we're not taking care of the inside of the child, it's all in vain. And so I want to prioritize real response systems for our young people and our residents across the board, period, which means it's going to look different. So another example I will give is there was a shooting. I live in Ward 5, right in downtown, right? Neighbors with the folks experiencing homelessness and substance abuse. And there was a shooting there. And in the time I've been here, there's been a few that happened. And when I reach out to our elected officials, I say, what's the response? What are we doing? I said, what's the response for this, And there is no system for that. And so we do a great job of acknowledging the violence that happens and the issues that exist, right? But how do we respond to them to solve them? And I'm not just here to manage issues, I want to solve them. And that's what I'll be focused on. And because of time, I'm only keeping this succinct, but I would love to talk to you guys after in real detail what that looks like tangibly. Thank you so much.
Budget is $550 million. I would like to see more money spent on public safety. The first thing we need to do, as far as I'm concerned, is we don't even know where our money goes. We don't know if every department has the money they need, is spending it, is saving it, what's happening. We need an audit of the city to find out where our money is, what we have available to use. And then I would sit down with the people if I was the mayor, and I would have a forum, and I would talk to the people, find out what they want. Now I know we do need more money for the schools, but now don't start throwing things at me. But I think the public schools has the money they need. It's just how they're spending it. That came my way. And we just really need to talk to the people, find out what the people want. We need to work on crime. We need to work on the homeless problem. Maybe we can do what Trump did, just order them out of the city. I don't know. He ordered them out of Washington, D.C. I don't think we can do that. But I don't know, and we need to work on the city's other fiscal problems. We have, if I'm correct, about $800 million in long-term city debt. That's over 50 years. Is it 30 or 50 years? I think it's 50 years. Now, that's not going to affect many of you here. It is going to affect your children. Your children and your grandchildren are going to suffer with reduced city services, and they're not going to live in a very good Brockton. And I want to, how much time do I got? 30 seconds. Okay, I want to quickly say one thing about police corruption. The accident at Sullivan Towers with an elderly lady got hit by the bus in her wheelchair. I contacted the Boston police officer who was conducting the investigation. I offered him hundreds of documents showing that the bad bus riders drive aggressively and dangerously. I offered him any documents he wanted, and he had the nerve to tell me, Mr. Ripley, none of that has anything to do with that accident for that lady got hit. These drivers are driving aggressively and dangerously. A woman got hit in her wheelchair. And this is happening all around the city, not just there in Sullivan Towers. I could go on for a couple hours.
As mayor to a working class and middle class city, do you agree with Senator Warren that politicians, no matter who they are, if they run for any office, should focus on one reality and one reality only, and everything else is secondary? We're talking about affordability in all aspects. Do you agree with that and why?
Okay, that was a very long question. So in short, I do not agree with that. Because it sounds like, from the way you read the question, that that's the only focal point, and there's no hierarchy occur, right? Like, there is, as mayor, we have to care. The issues of Ward 1 are very different from Ward 5, 7, 4, and so on. And a mayor needs to care and have the same urgency, response, and care. So all issues, varies across the board. So I think, when running, you shouldn't solely focus on one thing, but rather what it is that the city needs. And so, if I understood you, okay, I understood that. I was like, we only gonna focus on one thing. I'm like, what? That doesn't sound like Ms. Warren. Correct. Okay, so yes, I agree with that. Affordability across all things, so housing and healthcare and education. Yes, absolutely. See, y'all tripping me up with that question. But yes, no, in short, I agree. Affordability should be, but also with quality. Sometimes when we think affordability, we try to find the cheapest, fastest route. But we also need to keep in mind affordability with efficacy. So yes.
If I can understand it, Senator Warren made a statement where she wants everything to be based on affordability. Is that? I didn't hear it, but I would never. I think basically, yes, you got to do that on affordability for everybody, but not. I wouldn't say in every circumstance. It depends what they're talking about, what the issue is. I mean, we have a lot of issues. Senator Warren, but yeah, basically, we got to do things. We got to help out the homeless. I mean, the homeless, the elderly people. Like myself, I'm 70 years old. I live in Brockton housing, and we need that. And we got to, make sure people have, elderly people and kids have heat in the winter time. Yeah, we got to have a program for that. We got to work on the crime, the drugs. We got to work on the police department. Many of the officers are great. I don't even think I'm knocking the whole police department, but we have a problem in this city with discrimination with the police. And we have, I don't know how many lawsuits we got in this city now with discrimination. As I understand it, if they were all to be settled tomorrow, that could cost us $200 million. Of course, so we have a lot of problems. We got to find out what's going on. But affordability across the board, I would say no.
Thank you so much. Jane?
Excellent. Let me just put it to you like this. I mean, we are living in a moment whereby making $100,000 cannot do certain things. And especially for those of us who are at that age, making $120,000, we cannot really buy a house because it is so expensive. I mean, affordability can mean a lot of things. And I think that we as a society need to come up with a plan where the younger generation who have a desire to move on can able to afford certain things. Because somebody might think that, well, he's making over $100,000, he should be able to do that. Those of us are still living at home. Not because we want to, but because it is so expensive out there. Affordability, I think it's important, but at the same time, we need jobs. We need an environment where people will come and will invest. Because if you have safety, if you have education within a society, people are willing to invest. But before we can actually talking about people coming in, we have to take care of the people that are living here in terms of like taxes. So how do we make sure that somebody, who's 70, who bought a house 20 years ago, paid out because of taxes, they have to sell it. This is affordability. How do we make sure that somebody who is living in this community, knowing that they are about to pay off the house, and now they are worried about not able to carry the mortgage? These are the things that we can do as a local government. As mayor, I will work in collaboration with every single councilor to making sure that we understand that we are in this together. by building foundation to have tax incentive for our residents. It's okay to welcome business, but it's more important to have the people that are living here stay here. As I'm knocking on doors, as you know, I'm very good at that. I'm talking to people. Their biggest concern is that I'm afraid about losing my house. I'm afraid about not being able to afford it. I'm afraid about somebody come and take over my place. This is my concern, and this is something that keeps me up at night. It's somebody who's 75 years old not knowing what's going to happen to their house the next day. It's somebody who may have a desire to move into Brockton but cannot afford a house. We need to stop companies from coming to our city and buy houses and put it in the market for rent. That's what we need to focus on. Because they are the ones who are not living in, they are buying these properties, charging rates so high, those of us who are young people cannot even buy these houses. This is what I think the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, meaning the legislature, should pass a law to prevent these people from buying these properties. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I know it's going to be hard.
Thank you so much. Do you believe as next mayor that you could get along with the council, the school committee, and other strategic allies? Can we all just get along?
As I said when I announced my candidacy for mayor online, and you can check that, that's all that public information. I said that I could work with anybody. I can work with the city council, I can work with the school committee, but they must understand that corruption is going to end. No more lying to the people, no more twisting the facts. Straight information for the people. We do what's best for the people, not what's best for us. So in that sense, yes, I could work with anybody, but I will admit I'm not a politician, so I don't know what the mayor can actually do or can't do just yet, so I may be limited in what I can do, but I will make sure I tell them, look, I'll work with you, we can work together, but no more corruption. You got enough corruption. That's got to be a thing of the past. We got to work for the people. If we don't do that, Brockton is never going to move forward to that better Brockton. We'll be stuck. We'll lose Brockton for another generation. I mean, I'll be gone, I'll be dead, but other people are going to still be here.
Excellent. Well, I mean, it's not if or whatever not I will be able to work with my colleagues. We've been working together. I mean, I challenge them all the time. Let me just give you an example. The Brockton Public Safety Complex, which is way over budget, right? So $50 million over budget. Now, people go outrage about the deficit within the school system, right? But we don't pay attention to what happened with the Brockton Public Complex. I wasn't there, just so you know. But when I came back, at that point on, will we invest it was $99 million. And the question is, do you move forward or do you stop? And we stole that money. And we signed a contract that said this thing will be done. So what I did, given the fact that I wasn't there, and I said, well, I need to talk to the mayor. I had a meeting with Sullivan, explaining to me why I need to go to my taxpayers and convince them to let me vote on a $50 million deficit. Well, I'll tell you this. The explanation that was given to me was not pleasant. However, I understood that we could not say no. So what I did, I said, you know what, I will vote on that because we need this project to move forward. Because it is important and the city needs it. To go back with the library. People were shocked when I got that money. Because in order to do the budget, and I'll tell you something that you may not understand, you need people who are willing to open the door to give you a chance to pass that. When I hold $300,000 from the boss, somebody who's actually going for mayor apologized to Sullivan. Moses apologized to Sullivan because I hold that money. Because he could not understand that I did, and I'll tell you why. That $300,000 was money to pay 6 people. Don't forget though, if you pull $50,000, $80,000, $90,000 from his budget, he's going to have to fire some of his staff. The reason I hold up to that money because I wanted the library to carry on. Every single one of my colleagues actually voted in favor of it. That's working in collaboration with others. But I know it's not going to be like that all the time. When I passed the ordinance to increase voter registration in the city, every single one of them supported it. I voted against the homeless situation, not because I don't believe we have to do something with it, but the predicament behind it in terms of charging the money was wrong. That's why. I believe we have a homeless situation in the city that needs to be addressed. However, charging somebody who's homeless doesn't solve the problem. And I believe that I do have the ability and the capacity to work in collaboration with every single elected official to move this city forward. That's what I'll do.
Very important question, and yes, I will work to make sure I can work with everyone. We don't need to like each other to respect each other, and that is very true and a value of mine in my work. And so I've even done it as I've been campaigning. So not only just working with our key leaders and our electeds, right, but expanding who the stakeholders are and who gets to be at the table. So I'll even add really quickly to that. I live in Ward 5, as I said. I'm neighbors with the folks that live in the parks and under the bridge. And I've taken the time to get to know them personally, do a census, get to know their name, their age. And in that, I actually learned that there's actually a pattern that I've talked to political providers about and other doctors, and they didn't realize this, so we start to look at the data together, expanding, right, both when they're like to the table. If you are between the ages of 25 and 54, there is no inpatient or assisted living for folks that are not able to support themselves. And what I mean by that is when we look at the people that are living in our parks and under the bridge, they range between that age, and they're neurodivergent, they're on the spectrum, and they have very traumatic instances in their life that they just think are irreparable and they can never go back to. And so by having those people at the table, we've been able to even talk with SEIU 1199 folks who like to see it piloted, a certain type of shelter. Not only what we have right now, but one that is responsive to the people that are living under the bridge, that really need assisted living. And really quickly, because I have 30 seconds here. There is a young woman named Nicole that lives under the bridge, and Nicole is 29. At-Large, she's 39. I'm 33. She's older than me. She's 39 years old, and she's been out there for several years. And Nicole is on the spectrum, and Nicole does not know how to fend for herself, pay her own bills, pay her rent. And so, because everything happens in a silo, Nicole gets evicted. Nicole gets pushed out. Now she's on the street, can't fend for herself. And I meet Nicole in the middle of a traumatic event while she's outside. And by me talking to her, getting to know her name, and compiling my own census data, I realized, one, that our city doesn't have that. And two, there are people that are in the margins, and those same margins I come from, that are not being welcomed to the table. And we lose a lot of expertise and insight when we don't welcome those people to the table. Thank you so much.
This is the last question. There are 8 people running. There are 8 people running for me. After September 16th, there will be 2. In 60 seconds, tell us why you will be one of those 2.
Is that a closing statement or a question? Is it a closing statement?
Yeah.
Closing statement. Excellent. Well, obviously, I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this, and those of you who actually take the time to be here. Obviously, I said it earlier, I am honored to be here. And what's unique about this race is that, even though you acknowledge, there are 8 people in the race, but you only see 2 of them.
Exactly.
So if you are not here, it means that you don't care enough to come and listen to the questions and give your honest answers. I'll tell you this, I am in this for you. Since day one in this community, I have shown my willingness, not just to fight for myself, but to fight for every single one of us. In 2017, when I went, I came 4th. In 2023, when I went, I was number 1 in the race. And as we speak, I am number 1 on the ballot. I'm not number 1 because I'm lucky. Well, I'm not number 1 because I'm smart. I'm number 1 because people know me, and they know when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But the reasons to the council has been complex, because sometimes you may have a desire, and unfortunately, you cannot do it. I am asking for a vote for a better Brockton. I am asking for a vote to move this city forward. One last thing. If what you are looking for is what has been going on, do not vote for me. But if you want something different, if you want something new, if you want somebody who will go to City Hall and shake it up, I am asking for your vote. September 16th, there will be 8 names on the ballot, and I am first on the ballot. I hope I can count on your consideration to become the next mayor of Brockton by heading to the 24th. I am Jim Wright, independent court, but the guy with the longest name on the ballot. Thank you, folks.
Okay, Yes, I don't see why I couldn't be a mayor. For the following reasons. One, I have a lifetime experience, 51-year working history. I worked in hospitality in different cities around the country. I've met mayors and governors and representatives and all across Massachusetts and in other cities. And I just want you to think about this. When Mayor Sullivan first became mayor, he didn't know what he was doing. Yes, you have to have a little experience, I understand that. But everything the mayor does, for 30 seconds, is planned out for him. He's got 15 people to organize his whole schedule. He doesn't go to the bathroom without someone telling him to. He needs a meeting, somebody calls him. He needs his words to speak to someone, somebody writes it all out for him. He needs a ride, somebody calls his driver. He needs, anything he needs is done for him. So it's not like you have to be a great politician. Because, just think about Ronald Reagan. He served 2 terms as governor of California with no political experience and went on to serve 2 terms as president of the United States. I believe I can't do any worse than Sullivan, let's put it that way.
All right, I wish we had more time, but I will say after to speak to all of you, if you have the time to talk. But in closing, my 60 seconds is I'm a proud daughter of this city. And I know what it means when communities step up, and I am a product of that. And so I am running for mayor, and hopefully I can earn your vote. I'm second on the ballot, right after Jean. I'm only listed second, I hope I'm number 1 in your hearts. But I am running for mayor, and I hope to earn your vote on September 16th. And I will say this, I have something written out, right? And I think that it's important to really share the crystallizing moment for me of what made me want to be a public servant. Because this is not about politics or being a politician, but rather a public servant and really serving the people. And I remember I worked for Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, and I worked at the National Urban League. These are some of my colleagues right here who flew in from New York to support and canvass with me. They've seen the work and the results we've been able to produce. But really meeting the people where they're at is most important to me. And I remember in my time, I was ending my time with Ayanna Pressley, and oh my goodness, my time is up. I will share this story. In 2019, the state passed the legislators the Life Without Parole bill, and I lost 2 of my best friends in high school to gun violence. And my father is also serving a life sentence. And so in that moment, I had to think about what does it mean to be a policymaker, work for a policymaker, and have those people on both sides of the fence, going from being a client to the servant.